purpose of Every.Black is to assist people to create wealth through entrepreneurship. And how do we do that? That is through the membership. And if you have a membership, you're featured on the online directory. And you're also promoted on all social media websites. And you are also featured in the email blast. We also educate people about entrepreneurship through the many podcasts that can be found on entrepreneurship.black. And also through the weekly mastermind meetings, which are hosted on Monday nights beginning at 8 o'clock right here on this free conference call line. So the benefits of attending a mastermind meeting. You can discover solutions and ideas through brainstorming. When people come together, you're able to work collectively on different ideas you may have in your business or someone else may have in their business. And you're also able to tap into the knowledge and skills of others. You get to talk to people about their unique experiences and what they might have dealt with on their journey of entrepreneurship. And it also helps you to build your confidence if you know somebody who's going through or has been through the same journey as you as an entrepreneur. It also allows you to tap into an instant and valuable network. Now, everybody here knows at least 250 people. And if you don't, you can always check your social media. But when you attend these mastermind meetings, you're able to network with people who also know 150 people or 250 people. So when you combine that together, that's thousands of people that you could potentially have finding out about your business. And when you have networking, that also creates referrals. It develops a sense of family. Being a part of these mastermind meetings helps you feel like you are not alone, because sometimes entrepreneurship journeys can feel like you're on an island by yourself. So when you're here and you're talking to other people, it helps you get a sense of camaraderie and family. And it also gives you a positive attitude to keep you going through the week, which is really, really, really important for those of us who are entrepreneurs, because sometimes, again, you can feel like you're all alone and you can feel like you're burdened and it can feel kind of heavy. But when you attend these meetings and you're talking to other people who are like-minded and who are exchanging different ideas, you just get a little boost because it's Monday and you're enjoying time with other entrepreneurs. Now, the specific purpose of our mastermind meeting is twofold. As I said, you're able to network with like-minded people, and we also read positive books. We've been reading the S.B. Fuller book, and Miss Deborah has been so graciously leading us through this book for the past few weeks. And this has just been a very, very powerful book, and it's very necessary for us because this man was an entrepreneur in the 40s and 50s and 60s, and he was a black man. And it was really difficult back then. And for him to be able to do this and to be able to bring other people up with him says a whole lot. So now I'm going to turn the floor over to Miss Deborah, and she will ever so graciously lead us through the reading.
Thank you. Thank you, Camille. Good evening, everybody. I will be starting on page 93 if anyone happens to have the book. And I will also kind of refresh where we left off last week. And we left off last week where S.B. Fuller was a speaker at a forum. And we are learning a lot, not only about S.B. Fuller as an entrepreneur, but also about his philosophy about life. And we're also learning a lot about the social culture during the time that he operated his businesses. So our last statement or our last reading ended with S.B. Fuller explaining why he believes in capitalism. And he said, "This is why I believe in capitalism. How could anybody not believe in capitalism when these are the fruits? The understanding never came to the Negro that he can solve his problem if he does well whatever he goes into. When Jewish people are discriminated against, they outdo the discriminator. A Jew would tell you because he is discriminated against, he must put more into whatever he goes into. We're not doing anything in the North," SB said. 70% of projects are built for us. Where there is security, there really can't be any freedom. Where there is no risk, there can be no progress. In June of 1963, Fuller took a risk, and he purchased the South Center building at 470159 South Parkway in Chicago for $1,157,000. He bought it from the South Parkway Building Corporation under the direction of Louis Eaglestein, president of the South Parkway Building Corporation. The building contained 250,000 square feet of commercial space and was conceived by Harry M. Eaglestein in 1926 as the first commercial center for the integrated population of the area. The building was completed in 1928 and was one of the first shopping center concepts. It contained 7 stores, 51 office units, and 15,000 square feet of loft space. The South Center department store occupied 80,000 square feet of space in the building and in 1963 had 76 departments, 110 employees. South Center was famous throughout the nation as one of the largest stores in which Negroes had been encouraged to advance to important executive positions in marketing and retailing. It was America's first integrated department store. I'm going to stop there and ask if anyone has any comments about S.P. Fuller at the time becoming an investor in this large department store in Chicago. As it states here, it was one of the first integrated department stores in the country. What does that say about S.P. Fuller and his vision? Okay, I'm going to continue. It was founded in March 17, 1928, when Louis Kahn as the president and Richard Jones, a Negro and internationally known diplomat and businessman, was assistant to the president. So there were some things happening back in those days. Richard Jones happened to be or was the assistant to the president of this company that was started. In 1930, the active operation of the store was taken over by Harry Eaglestein and developed into one of Chicago's best-known retail outlets. It was in that year that Richard Jones was the assistant to the president of the company, was promoted to the post of vice president and store superintendent. With 3 floors and a basement, South Center carried a full and complete line of department store items featuring nationally advertised merchandise and all standard brands. It had 76 departments and offered a one-stop shopping service for the entire family. S.B. Fuller had planned an extensive modernization program, which he started in the supermarket. He said it was his desire to make South Center Building one of the outstanding shopping centers and commercial buildings in the greater Chicago area. The 3-story building with the elevator was partially air-conditioned and has 60,000 square feet of parking space. The famous Savoy space in the building, but it was converted into commercial and retail use in 1948. Any additional comments about SP's goals and why he decided to purchase this building in Southside Chicago? One of the thoughts that comes to mind is that his vision and his feeling about entrepreneurship always extended beyond just his own personal company. He was the founder and president of Fuller Products, but he always had a vision that was one beyond Fuller Products. His vision extended to the community. His vision extended to the Black community in particular. And so he was indeed certainly a man of vision. The ballroom that was part of this complex housed the Regal Theater. It was the last theater in Chicago presenting live stage shows. A number of outstanding African-American performers appeared there, including Aretha Franklin, James Brown, Jackson 5, Jackie Wilson, Four Tops, staple singers B.B. King, Marvin Gaye, Little Richard, Major Lance, Tammy Terrell, Red Fox, Little Anthony and the Imperials, Temptations, Moms Mabley, Diane Warwick, Della Reese, Slappy White and Wife, the Mills Brothers, Nat King Cole, the Spinners, the Vibrations, Albert King, Mitty Conyer, Baby Washington, Red Salder's band was a regular at the Regal. In fact, it was indeed the house orchestra for the actual complex. Final arrangements concluded the purchase of South Center were made Tuesday evening, June 4, SB's 58th birthday. It also marked the 28th anniversary of the founding of Fuller Products Company. SB said, with the purchase of the South Center, there would be a general rehabilitation of the entire 47th Street shopping area. Any thoughts about that? One thing comes to mind as I read this. All of this happened on his or around or before his 58th birthday. So S.B. Fuller accomplished a great deal. A company that sold hundreds of products, that had hundreds of salespeople that were across the country. And then he was also an investor. He bought property, and he actually did a lot in the city of Chicago. And he did all of this not only in a period that was remarkable for a black man, but he also did all of this by the time he was 58, which I think is remarkable also. No comments tonight. Everyone's quiet.
During that era, he had to have not only vision, but he had to have a keen sense of how to get along, how to facilitate relationships, and just really knowing how to integrate between the blacks and whites. And that was quite a feat during that time.
Oh, exactly. Oh, very true. Very true. Well, I'm going to stop there. If there are no other go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say thank you, Deborah. The purpose of Every.Black, again, as Camille said, is to help entrepreneurs, promote entrepreneurs, to help them create wealth through entrepreneurship. And the way we do that is, one, when people join, you get listed on our website, which gives you more exposure. We also create a directory, a membership directory that is downloadable from the website. And we also share it through our social media and our email blast. Actually, email blast goes out each week to over 6,000 recipients. So as a member, you can include your announcements in that email blast. We also use our social media to promote the things that our members are doing, with over 7,000 friends and followers through our social media. The other thing that we do is we have a podcast where members can actually have their own show on our podcast each week, talking about whatever their particular field of expertise is in their industry. And then as of last week, we introduced our calendar, our May 2020 calendar of events, where we list the upcoming speakers. And next week we have our speaker, Stan Anderson. And the week after that is going to be Sandra Miller-Jones, who's going to be our special speaker. And we also have other things listed on the calendar as well, including the Motivation Readers Wednesday night Open Mind Conference. We have members-only meetings on Fridays and Saturday mornings, and then the Dudley Eagles Leadership Training Program every Sunday at 2 p.m. Now, the one thing that we realize is that when you call in, you can't see who else is on the call. So we actually created a page on our website called Every.Black/network, where members or anyone can go there and list your information, your contact information. And if you do that, we'll share your information with other people that have filled out the form, which allows you to interact and network with other people nationally. We also, during this time, created a lot of resource links on our website, Every.Black/COVID-19, to help you manage and conduct your business at this time, and also some resources as far as links to some of the loans and monies that are available federally and locally that when we hear about them. So that's Every.Black/COVID-19. And then the last thing I want to mention is that we also have a special relationship with Lafayette and Sandra Miller-Jones of SMSI out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And they have a column, Lafayette Jones has a column called the Urban Call Briefs that's produced each month in the OTC Beauty magazine. What we do is we try to get our members in there to highlight those members in the Urban Call Briefs when it's possible. What's required is a nice headshot, 300 DPI or higher, this quality headshot, a profile bio of 400 words or less. And then we have to show some connection to the beauty industry. We can't make a guarantee, but we try to get members in there when we can. So what I'm going to do now is see if Wheatley is on the line, and if she's going to lead us in a scripture. And then after that, I'm going to introduce our guest speaker for the evening.
I'll be coming from Philippians 1, verse 6 this evening. Being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. And basically what that is saying, that though we may be going through all different types of things, there'll be little foxes, there'll be trials, there'll be distractions. But if you believe and know that God began a work in you, then he will see it until it is finally finished. And he will never start something and not finish it. Amen.
Thank you for leading us in the scripture there. So at this time, I'm going to introduce our speaker. And I'm going to also ask you, if you're not the, for 25 years, over 25 years, Kim Smith has served as a customer service sales specialist for brand name corporations such as IBM, Ecolab, and Smart Care Equipment Solutions. She is skilled at building relationships and securing new business while delivering excellent customer service. Throughout her career, she has demonstrated excellent team management and complex problem-solving skills. In every setting, she has consistently and enthusiastically demonstrated a strong work ethic and superior organizational skills. With her experience, talent, and accomplishments, she is embarking on the next chapter of her life as an entrepreneur. Now, normally, I read the bio of our guest speakers before introducing them the way that I just did. But tonight is different. This is something special, and it demands more. It demands more, and it's not just because she's my sister, because there are certain events in our lives that we tend to always remember in vivid detail. For example, such as your first kiss, your graduation, your wedding day, maybe the birth of your child. You know, these are the kinds of things that we never forget. So tonight, I'm asking you to commit this evening to memory, because you are about to hear the words of Kim Michelle Smith as she tells her story. It's a story of determination, exhibiting excellent customer service, displaying creative sales and marketing skills, demonstrating analytical problem solving, a story of relationship and team building, a story of empowering others, of perseverance, of accomplishment, and a story of commitment to excellence. But more than all of these things, it's a story of faith, and it's a story of love. What you will witness tonight is history in the making. This is what history looks like. Because I predict that a day will come and you will look back on this night, on this hour, and you will recognize it as being the very moment that something good that each and every one of you have become a part of on Monday nights began the transition from something good into becoming something great. This is the moment. And you will be able to say that you were there, you were on the call, and you heard the words and the story of Kim Michelle Smith. So at this time, without any further ado, I would like to introduce to you my sister, Kim. Kim, the floor is yours.
Greetings to all. Thank you so much, Jimmy, for the great introduction and this opportunity for me to share my career journey with the Every.Black family and guests on this call this evening. In sharing my journey, there are three key factors influencing my career path: family values, opportunities, and transitioning into entrepreneurship. Mastermind. I'm sure you've heard about Flint, Michigan, where there has been ongoing water crisis. Flint is my hometown, where my brother Jimmy and I were born and raised. With little income, my parents provided a home full of love, activities, extended family, and church. My father loved the garden, so we always had fresh homegrown food. His specialty was collard greens, and I still love them today. My parents expected two things from me: to stay out of trouble and graduate from college. My goal was to not let them down, to make them proud of my accomplishments. In 1979, obtaining my BA degree at Michigan State University from the School of Urban Development was a moment of fulfillment. My dream was to help improve and grow our urban areas. Starting my career in banking as a college intern and then a management trainee, I gained knowledge of internal banking operations, understanding loans and the factors used such as income, assets, and credit scores to determine eligibility and interest rate offerings. Realizing that I needed transportation, I was really walking to work, getting around on the bus line. So in seek of financial independence, my focus was to increase my income. Well, guess what? I landed my next opportunity with General Motors. Increased my income, and I learned about automobile manufacturing. My first assignment was in the paint department as a paper masker for two-tone cars. An option in the 80s with two colors on the car body. The air was full of paint fumes. My job was to paper mask the front door panel before the car would enter the paint booth. I quickly learned to understand that only a few two-tone cars were being built each day. By understanding the manifest, you could time when those cars would arrive, meaning paper masking. It was not required for me to be at my workstation if there were no two-tone cars on the line. So often leaving the paint department to purchase food. I'm talking about barbecue sandwiches, soul food dinners, T-shirts, tennis shoes, and other clothing items, or playing dominoes or cards in the break room was normal. GM employees on the clock while making money for their business. It blew my mind. My next assignment was in the trim department. My job was to drill multiple bolts inside the left side of a car frame to install the seat belt harness. Being predominantly right-handed, this task was physically challenging. I resulted in damage to my left wrist. It required me to put the left half of my body inside the car frame with a heavy drill, multiple bolts to be installed to secure the seatbelt harness, all within 1 minute. I learned that my physical limitations would not allow me to do this job successfully. After a few years on sick leave while waiting for another job assignment that I could physically do, I agreed to a monetary buyout that ended my employment with General Motors. Life events occurred. Got married, relocated to Atlanta, Georgia, with aspirations of opening a family restaurant, Wings, Dings, and Doodles. After a few years of owning my own restaurant, the challenges to continue without the proper funding was not the best outcome for my family. My business didn't survive. It was time for me to continue my education. In the early 90s, with the continued focus of technology, it made sense for me to develop my technical skills. Obtaining an associate degree in electronics was my focus. After graduation, one of my fellow classmates told me about a current opportunity with IBM. With the swiftness, my application was typed with a cover letter, worked on it all day until it was perfect. Landed an interview, hired on the spot to be a printer, hardware technician with IBM Corporation. My job was to fix customer service related problems and resolve equipment hardware malfunctions. By applying my likable people skills along with determination to master my technical repair abilities were key to my success in this position. My first sales opportunity came with Fort McPherson selling IBM paper. In response to a printer jamming issue, I determined the solution was external to the printer. And trust me, when I would go through your printer, I would go through it. Everything in it had to be correct. It had to run properly. So then if it didn't run properly, my mind led me to believe, well, what else could affect it? And true enough, it was external to the printer. It was the customer's paper was causing the printer jam. Well, what did I do? I contacted the IBM paper company and requested a shipment of multiple cartons of paper for testing. I communicated with my customer what I found and my plan to ship free IBM paper. Well, at that moment, he agreed that after testing, if this resolved the printer jamming issues that he was having on all floors and most of the locations on the base, he would start purchasing IBM paper for all their printers at Fort McPherson. The testing proved that it was the paper causing the jamming issue, and I closed my first sale using IBM paper. The next opportunity that really impacted upward movement with my career growth was a special project aimed at completing over 600 equipment upgrades for the Social Security Administration in 4 states, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida, with a deadline of 6 weeks. The plan of action came from me. My execution had to be seamless, with a completion time ahead of schedule. So many of you may be wondering, what happened? How did you do it? Well, let me share with you the details. My plan involved planning, preparing, communicating, coordinating, traveling by plane and by car to conduct on-site training to groups of IBM technicians in each major city at one customer location. So just to kind of give you an idea how I did it, the first week I stayed in Atlanta. I invited the Alabama team to come to Atlanta. We went to a customer location, and I actually showed them how to install the upgrade. So while we were there, we completed all the upgrades that day in that building. So that building was done, gave them the kits and the training information, and they were able to go out to their various locations in Alabama and get them done. Again, the second week, what did I do? Well, I sure had to take care of Florida. It made sense to fly, so I flew to Florida. Went to Miami, Orlando, Jacksonville. Spent a week and a half in Florida. Did the same thing. We trained at one location. Sent my team on to go to actually go to other locations and get their other upgrades done. The third week, the same thing. But this time I went by car. I was going to Tennessee. I needed to go to Chattanooga. And somehow I realized that Knoxville is not that far from Chattanooga, so I had the Knoxville team come to Chattanooga for training. So I had Knoxville and Chattanooga together. Then I had to travel to Nashville. I had to go to Memphis. So all that was completed actually in a week and a half as well. So the project was completed successfully 2 weeks ahead of schedule. And the reason why I wanted 2 weeks, I wanted to make sure that if anybody had a problem with any printer or the upgrade, that I had enough time to zoom back on a plane get there to that location or talk them through the necessary things that needed to happen to fix that printer. So I always allowed myself a little buffer time, but on this particular occasion, it all worked out smooth. During this time, my marriage was actually on a downward spiral, and our visions were on different paths that soon ended in divorce. We did have 2 sons, and now I have 2 granddaughters. My family, neighbors, and friends showed me love and support during this difficult time in my life. Right after my divorce was final, I was promoted to field service manager in Indianapolis, Indiana, responsible for managing a team of 24 technicians in 4 cities, Indianapolis, Terre Haute, Evansville, and Louisville, Kentucky. A major factor in my decision to relocate to Indiana was that this will put me within 5 hours of my aging mother still in Michigan. Eventually, she did come and live with me until her departure from this life. But before she came, I still had the job to perform at IBM. So let me just give you an example of one of my complex customer problems involving multiple vendor solutions. It was UPS and Pitney Bowes both pointing the fingers at the IBM printer saying it was the problem. Where was it? UPS facility in Louisville, Kentucky. What was it? It was an IBM printer. Customer already using the right paper this time, but they were using the printer to print customer credit card invoices. After printing the invoice, was manually entered into a Pitney Bowes machine to be folded and stuffed into envelopes for mailing. What was the problem? Missing ink on the invoices. We could not have missing ink on the invoices. Can you imagine getting your credit card statement and it's poor printing with missing invoices? That couldn't happen. So because the fault was being pointed on IBM, I was the IBM service manager, so it was my job to take the responsibility to figure out a plan, and that's exactly what I did. So I came up with a 5-step plan, and it actually involved everybody involved. So first of all, the technician on site was a very good Black technician. He was a Black young man, very technically skilled and very capable of keeping the printer up and running good. So I felt sorry for him, and I said I needed to really, as his manager, be there to support him. And he made sure that everything was running correctly in the printer. So I said, that's great. So I said, well, I got to come up with this plan. Let me figure out how I'm going to do it. Well, what did I do? Number 1, weekly on-site meetings with UPS management to provide status updates. Have to keep my customer in the loop. They got to know what's going on. Mad or not mad, I got to let them know what's going on. Number 2, I had to team up with the Pitney Bowes service manager to come up with customer solutions because it was, if this doesn't work, then we're both going to lose. So whether he believes it was IBM and the customer believes it was IBM, it still needed to reach out to that service manager, and that's just what I did. Number 3, my job was to prove that the IBM printer, including the paper, was working as designed. So, of course, I went through my analysis to figure out, well, is it working like it should be? I could rub the paper and there wasn't no ink coming off. When I rubbed it, it looked like it was fused properly, and there's a process that there is a printing process that actually fuses the ink to the paper. It looks fine to me. So I said, you know what? But they didn't really believe me. So I had to prove it. And a little Black girl like me, I'm not supposed to know what's going on or why it's causing it. So whatever I had to say really didn't matter to the customer. And everybody initially had already determined that it's IBM. So what did I do? I actually got the IBM engineers from Denver, Colorado, along with my district manager, to come on site. Conclusion, they found that the fused ink was being scraped off the paper invoice because of pressure during the folding and stuffing process. But remember, we just printed the paper. We didn't stuff and fold it. So I had to request the Pitney Bowes to make adjustments to their equipment to reduce the pressure on the invoices during their folding and stuffing process. So after 3 months of running it down the road with the customer with a problem where they can't do their invoicing, the customer, Pitney Bowes, finally decided, because it was resolved by Pitney Bowes making pressure adjustments to their equipment. So it was one of those situations where I knew what the problem was, but I needed engineers that had actually designed the machine to be there. Once the engineers were there, it was a whole different story. So it actually worked out in the end, and I thank God that I had the resources with a Fortune 500 company that when you call for help, you got just that. So after 2 years in Indiana, IBM began downsizing. I had to select 4 technicians that would lose their job. My lead technician in Indianapolis came to me requesting I select him to be laid off. He told me that he had been diagnosed with terminal cancer and that he did not have long to live. He wanted to spare his fellow technicians from being laid off. We both cried, and I moved forward with my other selections. My job was being eliminated, and I had to make a hard decision. IBM offered me another management job, but it was on the West Coast, or be terminated with IBM. I had to really think about this one. But the thing that really got me the most was my family. What about my son? He was entering high school. He was doing very well. And I needed to be in Indiana to be close to my mother, where she was still in Michigan. So my employment ended with IBM in the fall of 2003. I chose my family. Again, faced with finding another career path, realizing my faith was being tested, the solution was for me to rebuild my spiritual relationship inside a church home. Well, did just that, and as real estate agent, clothing sales associate, and dispatch lead supervisor were my next career growth opportunities. In 2004, I started my real estate business with FC Tucker Realtors. I held a seminar with a finance expert at my church and explained the benefits of home ownership and how to repair your credit to be eligible for loans. The finance officer was able to do some on-site pre-approvals, and I showed pictures of available homes for sale. From the seminar, I was able to assist 8 church members in home ownership, including my pastor, closing 8 real estate transactions in my first year with more sales in my second and third year. Well, my clothing sales associate experience was my weekend job. That's what I landed on the spot as well. I actually noticed a new boutique in Vogue had opened in my neighborhood with well-dressed mannequins. Well, inside the boutique met the store owner, and we bonded instantly. Fell in love with a black velvet coat that I could not afford at that time. The owner asked me to come to work for her for a couple Saturdays, and she would give me the coat. I agreed and continued to work on Saturday for several years to follow. I used my people skills to build relationships and promote clothing sales. I learned by changing a mannequin's outfit, it can affect how a person feels. In a few months, I had built a clientele of customers that would show up on Saturdays so I could assist them in making their clothing selections. I love this job. Over the past 13 years, as dispatch lead supervisor for Smart Care Solutions, formerly known as EveryBlack, my leadership skills of managing the team to successfully exceed customer expectations while meeting business objectives was my focus. My team's overall performance has been rated number one over the years in revenue and customer growth. Provided coaching and training to assist others in reaching their potential business goals. 3 out of my team are now managers with Smart Care Equipment Solutions. For a long time, the vision for my future has been to become a successful entrepreneur in sales. My happiest moments are when I can help others to feel good from a sales transaction. With the recent pandemic, many companies have been downsizing, including Smart Care, my company. In a manager's meeting this year, I volunteered to be chosen as needed to spare other colleagues from being laid off. This was not planned. It came out of my mouth, and everybody was shocked. So on April 6th, I was laid off and ready to start the same day, start my journey of entrepreneurship the same day with Every.Black. After speaking with Jimmy, he was so happy and excited for me, and I was for myself. I realized that I needed my brother, and he needed me in our journeys of entrepreneurship. In our conversation, we reflected on our parents' belief that we would be successful. In fact, my mother believed Jimmy was already wealthy. She would tell everybody that her son got so much money. Reality is that he's not monetarily wealthy. We both tried several times to explain to her, but no one could change her mind. Jimmy, I am so proud of you for following your vision of entrepreneurship and executing your talent to create Every.Black. Jimmy, 2 years ago today, our mother departed from this life, and I'd like to thank you for making her feel so special and important by sending her a weekly check in her name over the years, a business check, paid in the order of Margaret J. Davies. I have shared with you my family values, career opportunities, and 25 plus years of experience of successfully providing excellent customer service, creative sales and marketing techniques, analytical problem solving, proven relationship building, coaching others to be successful, training and documentation to support business growth, and solutions to complex customer problems have prepared me for my transition to become an entrepreneur to help my brother fulfill his mission with Every.Black. Thank you, Every.Black family and guests, for the opportunity to share my journey of yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Well, thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
Well, before we take questions, I want to make one more announcement. You know, after hearing your story, even though I already know it, because at least most of it, there's some few details that I learned. But I know anyone on the call can understand why I said what I said before Kim spoke. I want you to remember this night, because Kim has agreed to come on board with Every.Black as a full-time benefits specialist. What that means is she will be helping to recruit new members and maintain new members to make sure that our members are satisfied with their memberships and happy and that their businesses are flourishing. So she's coming on board to do that, to take on that role. So I just want to say thank you for doing that. And I'm excited. I can just see the future unfolding before us. So just want to say that before I open it up for any questions anyone has for Kim. Anyone? Again, you have to hit star 6. You have to hit star 6 till you take yourself off mute.
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I just wanted to say your journey is remarkable. The life situations that happened all along the way. I too was a corporate person who moved into education and back into corporate and then entrepreneurship. And I understand the life events that happen and how you constantly have to juggle and constantly have to make decisions and things like that. And you've been very successful at it. I had someone once in corporate America who said to me, the reason why Black folks can't be successful is that, other people will pick up and just move and go wherever the job takes them. But Black folks will stay back talking about my family, my this, that, and the other. And quite frankly, I think it depends on, your personal value system and where your priorities lie. Would you agree with that, Kim?
I do. And you know what? This is amazing. Sometimes you have to, just for me, you have to what's more important here? Because guess what? You can't get another mother. You want the best for your children. Now, if I didn't have children or another family connection like my mother, it would make sense. Then I'd be off and running. But sometimes you have to make some life decisions. We don't always make all the right decisions, but we have to make decisions, in my opinion, for what's best for your family at that time. Now, I have strong family values. I was raised in a family that was very much connected, and I couldn't get away from that. Because guess what? All the things are going to happen in the right season. And that's why I had to really put my faith and know that if it's not right for me right now, I'm okay. That's just for me. Now, and as I look back on my experience, I have worked, all my customers were Fortune 500 customers. My customer was the Federal Reserve. I seen money getting made every day when I went down there. I went in and out of the CDC in Atlanta, Coca-Cola, Delta Airlines, Georgia Pacific, Gulfstream Aerospace, Norfolk Southern, Emory. I have experienced it all. So with any one of those customers, if I really needed to get back in the Fortune 500 company, I could probably land a pretty good one even at my age. So I don't look at an opportunity that I can do anything I want to do. My destiny is on me. So, and I've always believed that by being the best you can be, it breaks some barriers down when it comes to sexism, racism. I don't say that it fixes them. It does break some barriers down.
Ms.
I
Smith?
have a question.
Yes.
Okay, this is Michelle. I have a question for you.
Sure.
Okay. Do you ever miss working for a Fortune 500 company? And if so, why?
I do miss working for a Fortune 500 company. I'm going to tell you a couple of reasons why. IBM was a top-notch 500 company, and still today they are. And it was all about the mindset. Believe it or not, as I think back on it, you know how we casually dress now when we go to work? We didn't do that. Meaning, I was dealing with toner and ink and all kinds of things, and I had a white blouse on, dark pants, and dress shoes. I looked like I was professional. I felt like I was professional. And then they empowered me. Because if you remember my story, I pulled the engineers that built the printer out of Denver, Colorado to come to Louisville, Kentucky. So it didn't matter whatever I needed to do. I already was empowered to get it done. If I needed a part that was in Canada or Japan or wherever, I could order it, be on a Delta flight. Delta flight would tell me exactly when it would arrive for this customer. There was no limit to the money. I didn't have to get a pre-approval from a manager to say I could do something. Like IBM Paper was willing to ship paper wherever I wanted them to. It's the empowerment that gives you the ability to do everything you need to do to be successful. So I was able to keep my fortune. But remember, my customers was Fortune 500. I couldn't very well say, you know, I had to wait for somebody to give me approval. I need to have that part of whatever they needed headed this way if it wasn't in Atlanta. So that's what I miss about it. And a lot of companies now, you got to have pre-approvals or, you know, you just don't feel empowered that you can make good decisions and that you can be supported. But I have to say that I was supported. In fact, to tell the truth about it, I was told not to even go to Foresight. I was told do not. They did not expect me to go to Foresight in Georgia. They were protecting me. So, and when I needed help, I could bring in the cavalry, and here they come running. I mean, not that any job is not perfect, but they're being able to empower me. Their resources was there to support me, and it's easy to become successful when you're with a company that gives you all that. Have I answered your questions?
Yes, you have.
What,
thank you.
That's what,
thorough.
yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's what I miss about it. It's because it's difficult. Customers can be very difficult.
Yes, even as a self-employed person, I find that, you know, I have difficult customers, difficult clients that you just want to shake like a bad cold.
Yeah, and this is the thing. It's all about likable. And for me, it's about if they like me, they trust me. And if I'm able to do some special things, I did special things to stand above everybody else. When I came to fix your printer, you knew I had been there because when you looked at the printer, the cover was cleaned. It smelled like maybe lemon or lemon or orange cleaner. It had a new fragrance in the room. The printer was shining, running, and if I didn't contact you before because you were not available, you had a little note on top of the printer from me. So it's constant communication, and my customers were ones that actually helped me fix the printer. They would always know what it was doing, the error code. So they knew that if they could tell me what was going on, I could bring what I needed to fix it. Because I had from the Alabama state line downtown with all these Fortune 500 companies that everybody wanted me now. So when I hit your spot, I try to take care of all your printers, whatever they needed. I may take a look at them, if it's no more to clean the covers off, because I needed to let them know I've been here.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
This is a... We're getting
a little bit of clicking.
Yeah, we're getting a ticking noise again. I think what we're going to do, though, at this time, I'm not sure who that is. What we're going to do at this time, though, it is a little after 9 o'clock. We just always try to wrap up at 9 o'clock, even though we're going to keep the line open, but we always close with the prayer. So what I'm going to do is, Stephanie Bryan, are you there?
Here.
That's okay. Well, Stephanie, I'm going to ask you, would you just give us a quick prayer, and then we're going to keep the line open if anyone has additional questions for Kim.
Okay, sure. But I did want to say, Kim, I am so proud of you. I'm so proud of you, Jimmy, and I'm proud to say I'm your cousin and that I'm in your family, and I am so happy for you. And I know God is going to bless you both. Well, he already has, but I know he's going to continue to bless you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Stephanie.
You're welcome. Okay, so if we could just clear.
Just a closing prayer.
Clear our minds. Dear Lord, our Heavenly Father, Lord, we praise you, we honor you, and we worship you, Lord. Lord, we thank you for bringing us here together for this conference call. Thank you for everyone on the line. Thank you for this day, Lord. This is the day that you have made, and we rejoice and we're glad in it. Lord, thank you for all the networking possibilities for everyone, for all of the entrepreneurs on the line. Lord, thank you for just blessing us all. And thank you for this new opportunity for my cousin Kim. And I just ask that you will continue to bless everyone, Lord. Lord, it is in your holy and precious name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And, I kind
You're
of
welcome.
sprung that on Stephanie, but like I say, we all grew up together, and I know her. But
yes, you did.
we're going to leave the lines open, so if anyone has any additional questions for Kim or any additional comments. And we're going to ask too, before you ask your questions, be sure to say your name and where you're calling from. Go ahead.
So, hi.
Kim?
Hi.
Ladies first. Go ahead.
Hi, Kim. My name is Deborah, and I'm calling from Raleigh, North Carolina. And I really appreciate you for sharing your journey. I really admire your accomplishments throughout your journey. One of the things that you said was that you had a sense of empowerment and you had good support from the companies and people that you work with. I have a question regarding an intrinsic sense of empowerment, because I sense that you also had such a mindset and an intrinsic sense of empowerment that enabled you to go through the journey that you went through so successfully. Can you comment on that a little?
Yes, and this is the thing. I think it's important that we know that people trust who they believe in. And I had to show that I could be excellent, that everything, my name on it was going to be excellent. And I had to prove myself that in the printer world, in what I'm doing now, all the time, it's always about proving yourself. So people trust once you're able to demonstrate that you're going to do it right. You're not going to do it wrong. And that gives you a self-empowerment, in my opinion, of your own. So I think some of it begins with ourselves.
Right.
And we got to commit to doing it exactly right. And it's okay with excellent. And for me, even as I look back on it, I was an IBM technician, and I was wearing a white blouse and didn't care that I got it messed up. But I wanted the people perceive me a certain way. I was after also the perception. And it gets kind of deep about how people perceive you. But all these things, I think all these things are important to being successful. No matter what you're doing, you want to be the best at it.
Exactly.
And I was in a predominantly male industry with hardware. When I was hired, I didn't even know the tools in my tool bag. I couldn't tell you a wrench from a screwdriver, from none of that. I didn't know what this stuff was. So how was I going to be able to do it? I had to be determined to learn it, and I had to learn it on site, late at night, at the World of Coca-Cola, or wherever the problem was. But by having all those resources, that I never felt alone. Whether it was calling another technician for information and help, or it was flying in a part, there was nobody questioning me what I did. As long as my customer was happy, there's no price limit of what you can or cannot do.
Yeah.
So it makes you feel good. It makes you feel in charge. So I think when companies are able to empower their employees and give them the freedom to do what they need to do is really important. And I think it promotes somebody for growth and for you to learn. But when you always got to go and get some pre-approval, it kind of like it makes you feel like people don't think I maybe don't trust me or don't believe me, or so hopefully I've answered your question, have I?
You have. But just one short question also. What kept you motivated on those days that were challenging for you? What was it that kept you motivated toward excellence?
Toward excellence?
What motivated you, even when there were days that they were challenging for you?
Even on the days that was challenging for me, it's something about being the first black little girl repairing some hardware printers. And there were other black females in like software technicians, but not the hardware. Didn't nobody really want to get dirty with the screwdrivers and things and pulling parts out. And since I was the first with the printing system company for IBM, it made sense that I had like a high standard to kind of live up to. That was one thing. And another thing, my family values. My parents always told, my mother specifically always said, it doesn't matter what you decide you want to do in life, just be the best that you can be at whatever it is.
Awesome.
And then I had a big brother that, you know, he was the brainiac. I had to study. He did. You know, he was the one that could, you know, whiz through this and that. I had to study. So I've always put a lot of time into everything I had to do because my brain is works differently than maybe my brother's brain. He catches right on right away. It may take me a little longer, but once I got it, I have it. So what keeps me, I guess, my inner spirit, my family values, I want to make sure that I'm setting a good example for my children as they move forward, that it's going to take hard work and dedication and determination. Those things are important. If you love yourself and you want to move yourself, then you're going to do those things. I'm just the person to keep it moving. I always keep my life moving. One door closed, another one open, I keep it moving. And was I scared to be terminated, laid off? You see, I'm not. It's one of the happiest moments of my life. And that's what's so amazing, that people, it really gave me time to go into my inner spirit and really understand Kim and really understand what I need to be doing on my next step. What's next for me?
Awesome.
So
that's great.
Yeah, I hope you be encouraged, because guess what? Whatever you're going to do it to the best you can do. Make sure you stand out from the rest. For me, my name is known, Kim Smith. I mean, I got some things that my team used to tell me that is not even acceptable on this call, but at month end, even with the last company, I was serious about, let's get this revenue in, we got to get it. That's why we were number one in sales growth and revenue. But it's important. Why wouldn't you want to be?
That's great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Be inspired and do the best you can be, whatever you're going to do.
Yes. Thank you.
There was a gentleman on the call that had a question, too. I hope he's still on. I'm not sure who it was.
Mrs. Smith, this is Vonzo Sawyer with the Vonzo Sawyer Associates, LLC, out of Kansas City, moving to Durham. I had a question. I appreciate your sharing the past and your highs and lows with us, and just giving it to us like it was, and with the spirit of a great storyteller. So I appreciate that. I am more concerned about I'm so excited from your past. I'm more concerned about your future. And so what is, now that you there's things you have know-how, not just knowledge, you have know-how. And so what are some of the things you want to do with Every.Black that will take from all the experience and skills you have propelling this forward? Can you kind of give a picture of what you see happening?
I personally, and I've been working on it the last month, I want to know everything about Every.Black. I want to be able to, if anybody asks me a question about where you can find this, or where this is at, or how is it going to benefit me, I want it to just flow off my mind. I want to know examples. People are inspired when people know things. And with this opportunity, it's huge because I'm inspired by it, because I've listened to my brother do several things, and the whole drive of building wealth is just amazing. It's something beyond that, how can I say it, that I can even imagine. So what I'm going to do, take from that, I want to position myself that on any lead or any interest or any possibility, that I'm able to drive it home and be able to pull that customer in and make them feel very at home and friendly and make them feel very comfortable and make sure that we have what they need to be successful. So it's about making other people successful. So I always say it, I can't be successful unless you're successful. So my success depends on you.
Okay, and just a follow up to that, how will you know you're successful at this? What will tell him I've done it?
Well, actually, I have a vision and a feeling of success every day. I'm able to wake up with a positive attitude and start my day, because positive energy, in my opinion, follows positive energy. So it's me to apply myself and to get in there, and once I get a lead or any other avenue that could promote our growth at Every.Black, I'm going to be all on it. People like people that call them and respond to them and email them and be on social media. They love that stuff. You got to really show that you care, and I do. And it doesn't have to always be about Every.Black. I want to know my customers or our customers or your customers just like they would know, or just like I would know my family members. I want to know detailed things, because guess what? People normally do business with people they like and they know about what's going on with them. That's how you build relationships. We're talking about relationship building. So what am I going to do at Every.Black? I'm talking about relationship building, because relationship building brings about word of mouth. People say, well, when you call in, ask for benefit specialist Kim Smith. She was great. I hear from her. She's always checking on me. She's doing the right things for the business. So that's what I hope to bring, all my special customer service skills, to be able to say, okay, you call me or you send a request for more information. I want to be my response time like you were a corporate America person. So if you send me a request, you're going to be getting a response from me real quickly. Response time means a whole lot, because if you're asking about Every.Black, then I need to be responding to you about Every.Black, and not like days after, like right now. So do you understand what I'm saying? Time response means everything, because if you wait till something else happens and then they don't have time, but when they're thinking about Every.Black, it's time to respond to them about Every.Black. So I think, in my opinion, timely responses always work for me. Because people say, wow, that was fast. You got to for me, I have to impress the person. So that's one of the things I'd like to do, is just to get people to understand how we're so thankful that other people are calling it with interest or emailing or whatever communication path they're using, that we're responding back quickly, that we're seeing if we can help them. And understanding all the membership options is going to be important. I got to understand everything, because I want to be able to have my sales pitch. I want to be able to pull out all the stops. I want to understand, well, if I don't take rejection very easy. You can reject me, but I just want to make another appointment. That's what I normally do, because I let people off the hook. I understand. It's okay. Mm-hmm. Maybe you need a little bit more time. It's nothing wrong with that. So follow up.
I have a question. Thank you. Well, before you take another question, this is Jimmy. I just want to comment on that question as well, Mr. Sawyer. I believe with all my heart that we're on a mission to help people of color all over the world achieve wealth through entrepreneurship, through technology. Now, some people on this call may not know me, but for the last 32 plus years, my background has been in computers, teaching people how to use software and developing databases. And I learned early on, I just had a knack for it. But what I wasn't seeing people of color use the technology the way that it can be used. And so that inspired me to create Every.Black. It didn't happen overnight. But a couple of things happened along the way. One, I met Joe Dudley Sr. and attended his mastermind meetings, which this is actually based after. And he made me realize that entrepreneurship, in my opinion and his, entrepreneurship is the way to go to achieve that wealth, to eliminate that economic inequality. We've come out of slavery, we've achieved our civil rights, but economic equality is the next missing piece. And I believe that we're in position to do that because of my background in technology and commitment to doing it. But I also believe that Kim's coming aboard is going to be is so enormous. It's going to make the difference between being an organization in Raleigh-Durham and an organization that's global. That's why I introduced her the way I did. I see that. I see it as clearly as I'm looking at this computer screen. I see the future. I see where this is going. And we're going to be leaders in helping people achieve those goals by helping millions of people overall before this thing is said and done. And this tonight, this is so vital, so crucial that to introduce her and to bring her on board. You know, I think anything you can't do alone. It takes teamwork. The other thing is I think that we know each other. Obviously, we complement each other. My strengths are where her weaknesses are my strengths. My weaknesses are her strengths. I think you're about to see something magnificent happen. And we just want everyone to be a part of it. I get emotional even thinking about it. But we want to bring everyone on this call on board. We want to bring everyone you know on board because there's room enough for all of us. So this thing is just beginning. So I just want to thank you also, Mr. Sawyer, for joining us. You recently joined us a few weeks ago, so thank you. But you just hold on tight because we're going. And I think that this virus thing, I didn't see that coming. But that has catapulted us into the future. It is making, because everyone right now is going virtual, and we're already there. We've been putting this thing together for several years now. It's already in place. The missing pieces are coming together, and Kim is a vital, vital, vital piece of the puzzle. So anyway, like I said, I don't mean to take over the conversation. I get excited about it. I'm excited.
Thank you. I'd like to say something along those lines. I did have a question, but in response to everything that's been said, I've been with Every.Black now almost 2 years, and you can tell God is over this. That makes it even more special because God's over it. Every.Black respects God and includes God in the whole thing. And from watching Jimmy, I've watched him claim something he's going to do. Not only claim it, but it comes into being because he's determined and he makes it work. He's built up to this point. Kim stepped in, just like Jimmy said, at the right moment, because now he's really going to need her help. It's all falling in place. God's over this, and it's falling in place like this because of God and because of Jimmy and now Kim and all the members and the future members. I believe it's going to work. I know it's going to work. I can feel it.
Thank you, Mastermind Jackie.
You're welcome.
I'd like to also
and I'm thankful to be a part of all of this. Excuse me.
I'm sorry. I'd like to add something to what Jackie said. This is Deborah. And one of the things that I have shared with Jimmy in the past is that this is, I believe, and I think it is an assignment from God. I believe that God provides purpose for each person's life. And when we begin to walk into that purpose and it begins to unfold. And so getting to know Jimmy and getting to know and be a part of Every.Black has been an inspiration, but it's also been something that is behind it, that is a lot stronger than just the networking. And I believe that this is Jimmy's assignment. And I believe that his assignment from God. And I believe that one reason is because he has such a passion for it. And my personal belief is that whenever someone has a passion for something, that is their purpose. And that when we see ourselves being so passionate about something, then we have to believe and feel and understand that that's what our life should be involved in. So I truly believe that this is an assignment from God, and I think that it's an honor for us to be part of this assignment and an honor for us to know what God is doing in this realm and be able to take advantage of what God is doing in this area. So thank you, Jimmy, for allowing us to be part of your assignment, because in Jimmy's assignment also comes our own purpose. Our purpose is being fulfilled through what Jimmy is able to do for us. And if we take advantage of that, then we will be able to see our assignment unfold even more.
And I thank you, Deborah. I appreciate that. But I do believe also, I believe that it's my mission in life. This is my mission. But also I don't want to get off this call without recognizing Mr. Lafayette Jones and Sandra Miller Jones, because I met him through Mr. Joe Dudley Sr., and he has been tutoring me, rounding out the rough edges, as I say. And now he's helping to tutor my sister Kim,
Yes.
with developing our marketing skills. I know the technology, but none of us are perfect, and I'm a work in progress.
Right.
So I don't want to ever stop being that work in progress. So I just want to give recognition to him as well. I couldn't go without doing that. So thank you, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Jones.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
I've got a question for everybody. This is Jonathan Crutcher. The business I represent is Cant Industries. I'm brand new to business. Recently moved from Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's funny that Ms. Smith brought up Chattanooga, Tennessee in the story. I found this place looking for guidance because I have no clue where to start. I just thought of this business maybe a week ago. It's still in the process of being registered. I've got a horrible looking business plan, and I'm just looking for a mentor. What does a guy like me do?
Well, Every.Black is certainly a place to start. We've got quite a few members, including, actually, I want to see if she's still on the line. Sherelle, are you on the line? Sherelle James? But so we got a lot of expertise within our membership.
Okay.
Sherelle, are you there? She's gotten quiet on me. Anyway, we had one caller. Her name is Sherelle James. Anyway, bottom line is we don't know it all, but we're determined to figure it out, and we pull from the expertise of the members that do know more. Bonzel Sawyer's on the line. He's a business coach. He's on the line. He just spoke earlier. Sherelle James, okay. She's a strategist. She's on the line. I'm not sure if she's listening in right now, but I know she's here. She sent me a text. I know she's on here. Excellent resources. So that's kind of where it starts. That's the whole idea of the Mastermind group. We learn from each other as we go forward with our individual goals. You know, we're not trying to make you all become do what we do. We want to help you to do what you do. That's our goal. And so we just call on the people and the resources to help do that. I want to say we have a podcast. And you can get to the podcast through entrepreneurship.black, www.entrepreneurship.black, or you can go to our website at Every.Black. Now, I mentioned the podcast because we have recorded over 1,900 episodes about entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And
do you have members who are part of the manufacturing?
I don't know. None that I can think of offhand. But
okay.
But I would bet that if we don't, we know somebody that knows somebody.
Okay.
Which is a whole part of the networking as well. So I can't think of anyone at this current time in manufacturing, but if there's a resource you need, we'll help you. We'll certainly put the word out. One of the real advantages of the networking thing, like Camille said earlier, the average person knows 250 people. So if each one of us knows 250 people, we know someone to get the word out. We've already established the network. We've established the social media network. We've established the email network. We've established the membership network. So by being in the network, if there's a need that any member needs, we can reach out to literally hundreds of people or thousands of people instantly to find those resources that any particular person needs. Yes.
This is Pat Jones with Pat Jones Voiceovers, and I just want to thank you, Kim. It was a very inspiring talk that you gave us tonight. But to the young man that just asked a question about resources, don't forget also about the Small Business Administration. Katie Gale, she works a lot with entrepreneurs to help them to get their vision together where they can pursue it. So she has a lot of resources as well.
And if you don't mind, I'd like to thank you very much for your comment. And the gentleman that just was on the phone with my brother, can I get a little bit more information? I'd love to be able to follow up with you. Maybe after this call, that would be great.
Yeah, we need to follow up with him. Right.
Yes, ma'am. You want to do that now, or?
Jimmy, can you identify his information?
I don't know who. I got a screen full of numbers. I tell you what. Do you mind just giving us your number?
It's 423-584. I'm sorry, it's 582-8447.
423-582. And what was the rest of it?
8447.
8447. And your name again?
Jonathan Crutcher.
Okay. Jonathan. Okay.
No, we'll definitely reach out to you. And that was my other thought, too, is we really need to talk to you offline to see exactly where you are.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Don't worry, you're not alone.
You know, the biggest thing is it sounds like you've made the decision. That's the biggest step.
Yeah.
Once you made the decision, things will start to happen, like this call. That's part of the things that are going to happen in your life, but you have to make the decision. If you hadn't made the decision to call in, we wouldn't be offering to reach out to you to help you. So thank you for calling in.
Yeah, I have, nobody in my family is an entrepreneur. I've always come up with different ideas, never really pursued them. And it's weird, and I like the whole religious part of this, what we're doing, which I don't go to church every Sunday, so I really needed this today. But the business is what I'm trying to get into. I've had the know-how my whole life, and it was weird. Like, that's how God works. It's like you look back and you're like, I had it the whole time, but I was looking at everything else besides what God had already gave me the tools to do. So everything's really seems like everything's meant to be right now. The direction we're going.
Well, you're in the right spot. You will get help. You got the support.
That's one of the things, too. You mentioned that no one in your family were really entrepreneurs. And I think that's a huge challenge for us as a people to change that mindset. We can't think about being the employee, looking for a job. We got to be thinking about being the employer, even during this time. So I applaud you. I really do. And the other thing is that you never realize once you take that step and start, if you have, I don't know if you have children or nephews or nieces or other children in the youngsters in the family, they're going to notice that. They're going to see that, and they're going to learn from that. And 10 or 20 years down the road, they might be doing the exact same thing because they saw you do it. You led the way, so I applaud you.
Yeah, I hope so.
Claim it. Don't say hope.
Claim it. You got to believe it.
Claim it.
That's
you already had that feeling in you all this while, and here you are on the brink of everything really unfolding. Go ahead on and claim it.
All right, thank you. I will. I'm going to do it.
You're welcome. Good.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? I was like, this is Kim's night, and I got wound up. I just had to jump in there whenever.
It's great. I just wanted to make sure we got the gentleman's information.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely. I mean, when Vonzel asked about the future of where he saw things going. But anyway, any other questions or any other comments or thoughts?
I do have one.
I would like to say something as well. Go ahead.
Somebody.
Yes,
I've
this
talked
is Wendy
enough. I'm not
Kraft,
gonna say
but I
anything
didn't
else. Go
want to
ahead.
interrupt somebody.
Go ahead, Wendy.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Hey, thanks. This is Wendy Kraft. Kim, thank you for sharing. You really laid a path for others to follow, should we desire. And one thing I noticed is that I put down that it looks like you played a very important part and you knew your part, and your part wasn't the end game. You were not the end game. And you recognize that. Had you thought you were the end game, all history would have been changed. All fire would have erupted. You probably would have been fired. But you would have proved your point that you were right in the instance that the printer was working properly and the problem was the folding machine. But instead of seeing yourself as the end game, you saw yourself as, I just called it the bridge between the machine and the customer. You knew your part and you played it well. And in that humility, you rose up. And, we say, rather than arguing and proving ourselves right, if someone wants to say that we're wrong or disagree with us, we just let time prove us right. And I think you played your part very well, and you've been a wonderful example of that. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the comments. And I just want everybody to know I care about my customers. They're important to me. That's just the bottom line. I care.
I have a question.
Sure.
I was going to ask earlier, but my phone got crazy and all that. But anyway, Earl, you were talking about how you, when you were working at the factory with cars and all that you injured your wrist. How did you go about learning how to repair printers with your wrist being injured like it was?
Well, let me explain how that happens. When you're young, things, I had what they call carpal tunnel. Okay? So actually, to tell the truth about it, I actually left General Motors with carpal tunnel. And as I went to Georgia, it kind of went away. I mean, I was still young. It really didn't bother me because I really wasn't using it to bolt up a seatbelt that I didn't have enough strength to do. And with IBM, it was different. It wasn't any weight to the parts that I was installing. It was no really pressure or heaviness that I was putting on my wrist. So I really didn't think I had a problem. Actually, it went away. I thought I was fine until it recently, when you get older, you find out.
You started feeling it again, huh?
It comes back.
Hello, I'm back.
It has reappeared its ugly head again, and unfortunately, I've been told that the bone is no longer getting blood supply in my left wrist.
Oh, no.
And it's caused from an injury way back. And as time goes on, I now have arthritis in it. And with that bone not getting the right supply of blood, it's like a dead bone. Does that make sense? So even now for me right now, and because of the pandemic, I think the last time I went to the doctor was a month or so ago, and they can't even give me pain medication. So I'm just taking regular Tylenol. And what do? I have a wristband. I keep moving. My mother taught me how to keep moving. My mother never stopped. She was 102. I can't stop at 62. She was 102.
I tell you what, she definitely rubbed off on you then. She definitely rubbed off on you.
She did not. My family can tell you on this call, my mother never stopped. And she would tell us, too, I'm this kind of age, y'all better get it together. She would tell us. Any of my cousins are still on this call. My mother would say, y'all better get this act together. I'm still around. Y'all better stick around, too. Get it together.
Boy,
So
I tell you,
y'all didn't have any. I had a strong mother, really. You just don't understand. You couldn't tell her nothing. She believed what she believed, and she was at 102. In her 100, she was still cooking a pot of greens and beans.
That's a blessing.
well, not in her hundreds, but maybe late 90s, Jimmy, would you
She
say?
was 98, 99, still cooking. Yeah.
Yeah, she was still cooking. She might not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all got that
This no
100-year-old.
joke.
Y'all like to got that 100-year-old cooking. You can't beat that with a stick. From scratch too.
Well, I say
I know y'all ate good.
She lived to be 102, and her father lived to be 101. Our grandfather lived to be 101. So
Wow.
I tell people, you know what they call that? They call that pressure.
It's on y'all now.
It's on us now.
It's true though. I mean, if I stopped doing what I was doing or didn't, she would say, "Well, girl, what is wrong with you? You need to figure it out how to do it with your wrist problem. Okay, you need to just figure it out, wrap it up, do something with it."
Well, I tell you what, she's rubbed off on y'all, and Every.Black will be around hundreds of years because of what she instilled in y'all.
Yeah,
and her mind was good till the end too. She loved to play Scrabble, right? And so she'd come to North Carolina sometimes to stay with me. She'd come during the winter months until the last couple of years when she had to go into a home. But she would come and play Scrabble. So I'd invite some friends over, and they couldn't believe this 98, 97-year-old woman was just killing them, beating them in Scrabble. Her mind was sharp till the end.
Yes, sharp, and I bet she pulled out some words they'd never heard of before in their lives. Imagine the collection of words that she had.
Well, she did, but I do have to admit, though, our aunts and our mother lived together for 25 years. Our uncles passed, and our father passed, and so the sisters, they lived together, and what they did every night is play Scrabble. And
my goodness, they were sharp.
They were super sharp. And I'd go there, to visit and try to beat. Sometimes I win, but usually they'd get you. I mean, because they.
Yeah, they'd get you. They'd get you. And
y'all got some great memories. Y'all got some great memories.
And people wonder about me, but I feel like this: wherever I focus, I can deliver. And that's what I would always teach my team: wherever we focus, we deliver.
Well, you can definitely tell that by your story, by your journey. You really can.
I really believe that I can do anything I set my mind to do. If I wanted to be an airplane pilot,
you're already there.
Well, with enough, it's wherever I want to go. Because remember, Mastermind Jackie, we determined we all have the same tools in our toolbox.
Yep.
So if I put my mind to do something, then I'm maybe take a different path than my brother, but I'm going to do whatever when I decide I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it.
It's going to fall in place. There you go. There you go.
I don't quit. I do not quit. And that's what I've been known for, not quitting. I just keep on moving and keep it going where we deliver, where we focus, we deliver.
That's it. You got to. You got to.
So, and that's in anybody's life, though. If you, and if you spend enough time with something that you really, really want it,
you're going to get it done.
Give up. You can't give up. I quit, I can't, really is not in my vocabulary. I don't understand that. The older I get, I think the worse I'm getting with it. But in a good way. I like to have fun in a good way. It's just that it keeps your mind going when you're constantly doing something.
Yes, it does. Keeps it sharp. You sure better do something.
It keeps you sharp. And I don't want my mama to be in heaven talking about, girl, you need to do better than that. I know her. I know her like a book. Like
it'll be in your mind. She left here knowing that was going to be in y'all's mind. Like I said, she's instilled that, but she didn't instill anything else. It's there, that drive.
Yeah, well, I believe she knew something before. That's why she believed that Jimmy was rich. You couldn't tell her nothing. You could not tell her nothing. He made a lot of money, and that was it. That was it. And you better not say that it's not true, because yes, it is.
But you know what they say about if you believe.
Speak it into existence. You
there
speak
you
it right
go.
on into
And
existence.
that's exactly what she was trying to do.
Well, it's working.
That's exactly what she was doing.
It's a matter of time.
And in my opinion, that's what she's doing. But anyway, are we the only three left on the call?
No, actually.
Yeah, it's mighty quiet.
No, we've got quite a few people on. We got about 20 people on the call. I guess they're enjoying what they're hearing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to stop talking and stop hogging the conversation so somebody else can get in, because I hadn't even thought about everybody.
Well, what we try to do is we try to give an extra hour after our calls, because realize sometimes our calls go beyond the 9 o'clock. Sometimes they don't. It just depends it just depends. But does anyone else have any comments or questions or things to share? We are going to wrap this thing up here in a few minutes.
This is Stan Anderson, Jimmy.
Okay.
I was reluctant to unmute because, you asked me to go on silence, but I had a feeling it wasn't me really causing that static, but I said I better be obedient.
Okay.
But I just felt like since it was the end of the program, maybe I could come on in and cause some problems now in case it was me, but
absolutely.
I don't think it is me.
So this is
anyway, I want to thank
out in New York. Go ahead, Stan.
Yeah, Stan Anderson. I'm with the Motivation Leaders Mastermind Network, and we all are pretty much inspired by pretty much the same source in terms of what we all are presenting. Every.Black Network, the Motivation Leaders Mastermind Network, and quite a few others have really been inspired by Dr. Joel Dudley, and which means really by just Mr. S.B. Fuller also. But Kim, I just want to say I thank you so much for that. It was really, really interesting and inspiring hearing your journey, and I'm so glad that you're coming to be with the Every.Black Network and your brother, and I'm so glad that, we have the pleasure of having you on our calls sometimes, our morning calls, because we have a call for those who don't know about our program, every month, Tuesday through Saturday, rather, at 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I just want to thank you for that, Kim. It was very, very encouraging, very inspiring, and thank you all for being on the call tonight. I'm about to go ahead and disconnect.
Okay, one last thing before you go.
Have a good night, Mastermind.
Before you go, Stan,
yes.
Please let everyone know what number do they call. It's Tuesday through Saturday at 8 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
What's the number?
Tuesday through Saturday, 8 a.m. Our number is, we conference call 513-386-0000, and the access code is 316-364#. We also have a Wednesday evening segment every Wednesday night called The Open Mind, and we're having Dr. Cheryl Holmes, who's a marriage and family therapist, but also holds degrees in 7 other degrees. A young black woman who's absolutely just powerful, well known throughout the industry. She's going to be our guest tomorrow evening on that very same number that I just gave you. Excuse me, not tomorrow evening, on Wednesday evening, but we do have a call every Tuesday through Saturday, 8 a.m. in the morning, and that's the number also. So thank you, Jimmy, so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mastermind Stan.
Good
night, Mastermind Stan. Take it easy.
Good night, Mastermind Jackie. Good night, all Mastermind.
Good night.
And everyone on the call.
Hear you in the morning.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, we'll give it maybe another
Good
5
night,
minutes.
Mastermind.
Good night, Rashida. Mastermind Rashida.
Good night, Mastermind Jimmy.
Good night.
Like this, back?
Mastermind Rashida. So nice to have.
Any last comments? Like I said, we're going to go ahead and close up for the evening. But I just want to thank you all again for calling in. We do this every Monday night. The one thing that I'm not happy about is this service on freeconferencecall.com. So we are looking at options. We may be looking at Zoom. And if we do, we'll let everyone know. But we're just trying to get rid of the static and the ticking and just for a much better teleconference. So we're taking it seriously. Don't think that we're not. We're just trying to figure it out.
May I say something along those lines? Since you brought it up, I think, not trying to make an excuse thing, but I think I hung up and called back up, and I said, well, this time instead of using the *6, I used the mute thing, the little mute app thing, and it worked out. So maybe with me doing *6, it's causing some kind of a problem. I don't know. But I just know that this particular time when I call back in and use my little mute button,
Well,
I don't have a static.
I think what we might do, Jackie, though, we may try that maybe on our Friday call or Saturday or something like that. I don't want to experiment. I don't want to experiment on our Monday calls because we got a lot of.
Oh, I understand. I understand. I just don't. I was just trying to.
Right. Well, we're going to figure it out. My inclination is I'm really thinking of just changing to another service that's going to be maybe more stable. We've had little problems off and on for the last month or so. I think partly because of the increased traffic on all of the conference lines, and for whatever reason, I think this particular platform they're having trouble keeping up. That's just my personal opinion. But we are going to be looking at some options here because we need to fix that.
All righty.
So, any last call? Sherelle, are you on the line? I was trying to get Sherelle to come on because I really think a lot of her she's been such a supporter. More money, but So anyway, well, Kim, do you have anything else? Last thing you want to share, or anyone?
No, just thank you, everybody. I'm so excited. Every day I'm waking up with positive energy and thinking about what's next for what we're doing. And are we still meeting, me and you, tomorrow morning at 8, Jimmy?
Yep. Sounds good to me.
Okay. I just want to make sure. And do we need to call Mr. Johnny tonight, or do we need to approach him in the morning?
Feel free to call me tonight.
Okay. I got your number, 423-582-8447.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Here you go.
Okay. So, again, I just want to thank everybody. Tell somebody about these meetings. That's your job, wherever you are. Tell someone in your world and your network about these meetings, because it's just going to grow. We're committed to making it grow. We're committed to helping people nationwide and eventually globally. So tell somebody. Next week, also, Stan Anderson, who just got off the line, he is going to be our guest speaker next week. And the title of his talk is "What You See is What You Get." So that should be interesting. Other than that,
sounds good.
Yeah, I think. Other than that, I'm ready to wrap up unless anyone again has any last. Other than that, I'm going to say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. It's been a good call. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
I grew up in Flint, Michigan during the 60s, and I remember as a child the civil rights movement. And I remember as family would huddle around this black and white TV and watch all of the things that were going on in Alabama and Mississippi. Some of my cousins, older cousins, were active in the movement, and every Sunday we would have a large Sunday dinner with the extended family. And they would come back on Sundays and they would tell us about all the things they'd seen and done. And as a child about 8 or 9 years old, I always wanted to grow up and be a part of that. But by the time I became of age, it was all over. All of the marching was done. I always felt left out, that I didn't get a chance to participate in the civil rights movement. But little did I know that God had another plan for me as a computer instructor and database developer. We as a people had to overcome slavery and secondly obtain our civil rights, being able to eat in any restaurant or stay in any hotel that we wanted. But the third piece is economic equality. I'm convinced that to achieve economic equality, it has to be through entrepreneurship. And we must use technology and a strategy of global networking. And that's why I created Every.Black, to use my 30 years of experience as a computer instructor and database developer to use technology to promote our members. We do it in a wide variety of ways. Of course, we list them on the website. We list our members in a directory that is downloadable from the website and our podcast, and distribute it at trade shows and other events. We constantly promote our members on social media and weekly email blast. Our social media followers and recipients of our email blast numbers in the tens of thousands. With over 30 podcast shows that air weekly, we reach people around the world, educating them about every aspect of becoming an entrepreneur. Where you can be interviewed on one of our podcasts or join Every.Black and have your own podcast. We have a complete package of services catered specifically for the entrepreneur. And last, we conduct weekly Mastermind meetings where we read positive books and learn about entrepreneurship while networking with like-minded individuals. Just go to www.every.black to register for our weekly Mastermind meetings. And that's what Every.Black is all about. Whether it's through Mastermind meetings, providing the members with more exposure through social media and email blast, interviewing the members on podcast, and even providing them with their own podcast. We also make it very affordable for anyone to join, from a basic listing to a bronze, silver, or gold membership. So visit us at Every.Black. Sign up today. Just go to Every.Black, EVERY.BLACK. No .com, no .net. Just Every.Black. .black is the new .com.